What is going on, guys? We are in Seattle right now. I have my Leica M11P microphone, as you can see, at my sister's place. We're getting ready for my niece's first birthday. It was a long drive, about 12 and a half hours, but we're here. It was a good drive. Got a nice truck to do the trek with. If you've been paying attention to my community posts, you'll see that I bought a Hasselblad 500C. Super excited to use that camera. As I was about to load up some film, I saw that the exposure counter on the film back was jammed up, and I tried to troubleshoot it, tried to look online, but there was no solution. And this is like 2 days after I bought it, so I decided to return it. I was really happy to use it. It was a beautiful camera and functioned really well up to that point, so I ended up returning it. But I did pull the trigger on a Mamiya RB67. It's the Pro SD version, so I'm super excited about that. I did want a waist level viewfinder, so that was a top option for me, and it's fully mechanical, so that's going to be really cool. So I have my light meter, I have my film ready to go. We're just waiting for the camera to ship from Japan, so I'll be looking forward to getting some content with that camera for you guys. So I know that I said I was going to bring the Bright & Star X-Slim 28 2.8, which is a great lens. I did a recent review on that. Check that out. Super thin lens, awesome. But last minute I decided to go with the Summaron 28mm f5.6, and I think I made the right decision because this thing is so sharp. We went on a walk earlier this morning. It was super overcast, really nice, really cool weather, and just some of the photos out of this thing, the contrast is so nice. The clarity is just beautiful. It's a great street lens. If you're not doing like a lot of portraits and stuff, and you can still do portraits with this and just get a lot of context, but if that's not your main thing and you're just going out in the streets and just capturing and documenting, I think this is literally the best lens to do that with, the 28 5.6 from Leica, the Summaron. I noticed that when I came to my sister's place, she had a one-of-one version of my Japan 35-35. It's leather bound, super glossy pages. I kind of made it as an experiment, and I sent it over to her and gifted it to her, and she has it on her bookshelf, so I was able to finally take a look at it. I never even got to see it, and it's so nice. The only thing is that if I wanted to share it with you guys, it's just, I would have to sell it at a price that, you know, I think is just a little expensive. So I decided to just make it a one-of-one. But you guys can get that photo book on Amazon. Go to www.milmidstudios.com. You'll be able to see Japan 35-35 up for sale, and Yellowknife 35-35, where I use this camera with the Summaron 35mm f2, which is a beautiful vintage lens with a lot of great character. And I curate those images and put them in the book for your guys' enjoyment. I really enjoy it, and I hope that you will too. Any purchase supports the channel. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll be back with an update soon. We are back from Seattle. We've been home for a few days now. It's been super busy with work, with the home, with family, all that good stuff, working on certain projects, one that I'm going to get into right away. Had a great time, and I want to kind of share my experience with the Leica M11P and the Summaron 28 5.6, the only lens that I brought on this trip, and I kind of just want to go into that with you guys and share some of the photos that I took on this trip. By the time this video goes live, this zine will be available for purchase. Seattle Exposed contains 16 images that I selected from the Seattle trip that sort of tell the story of how I experienced it. Seattle Exposed, thank you guys so much for the past support that I've gotten and the current support that I am getting with these photo books. And if you want to support the channel, pick up this photo book for $10.99 USD. Thank you so much for your support. So in the previous segment, I discussed my Hasselblad 500C, a camera that I was super happy and super excited to get my hands on, but it was faulty and I had to return it. Instead of going the route of another Hasselblad, I decided to pick up the RB67. Like I stated before, it finally came in. This thing is gorgeous, great condition. I shot my first roll, cha-ching, out of this RB67 Pro SD, and I actually dropped off the film for development. So really looking forward to see what I get with this camera. It's beautiful. It's actually lighter than it looks, a lot lighter than it looks. And the process of photographing using this waist level viewfinder, it's just such a different experience, and I'm really enjoying it. So I hope to, you know, do some content with this guy. Landscapes, mainly portraits and landscapes is what this guy's going to be for, and possibly a photo book full of beautiful portraits and or landscapes. Also, real quick, I want to shout out Isaac, aka Cannon Whale, for gifting me some Electra 100 from Flick Films. He gave me 2 rolls. He had this sent to me. Now, Isaac lives in Singapore, but he had orchestrated to have this film sent to my door by a local camera store. So, super cool, super humble. Thank you so much, Isaac. I really look forward to shooting these rolls, and I'm going to shoot them through this Canon T70. Now, guys, let me tell you something. This thing, I got the camera itself used at an antique store for 80 bucks. This lens, it's a 50mm f1.4 FD. Got this for 50 bucks. I shot a roll of Ilford HP5 plus 400 and I'm in love. I am truly in love. So if you guys want to see POV content with this, let me know and I'll be happy to go out and take some portraits, do some street, all that good stuff. We got all that out of the way. Now to the reason that we are here, the Leica M11P with the Summaron 28mm f5.6. Guys, this is the street photography lens. So I'm going to be really ambitious here and say when you guys pick up my photo book, Seattle Exposed, visit www.milmidstudios.com. When you guys pick it up, you're going to see 16 images. 99% of those images were shot at about this level, if you could see that. This level. When I went to Japan, I saw that they had this lens on their used shelf at one of the camera stores. I put it on, took some photos, and I absolutely loved it. Obviously, the limitations, we're going to get over that right now. The limitations of having a 5.6 lens is that as the light decreases, the ambient light decreases and the sun goes down, good luck shooting with this guy at 5.6 being your minimum aperture. That being said, when I was in Seattle, the first day that I was there, I went out for a walk with my sister. It was early in the morning and it was overcast, like it was going to rain, typically like what you would see in the UK. And I had this lens zone focused at, I think it was actually 5.6 that I initially started to zone focus at, but then I moved it up to f8. We'll get into that later. And the images were beautiful. And, you know, the ISO obviously would increase to compensate for the lower light. But like I said in previous videos, guys, I'm not scared of grain. I actually quite like it. If it's overwhelming, I could always use some denoising, but very rarely do I use that application in Lightroom. I just like the grain. I just find that it's a character to the image, and it's what's true about the image and the camera that you're shooting, if that makes any sense. On the flip side, as the sunlight goes down and then your ambient light goes down, this lens becomes less and less useful or less and less appealing. And I would really like to have the 35 f2 on my camera. But like I said, I kept this lens on for the duration of my trip. And as I was outside during the day, during the evenings, during the mornings, I felt great shooting with this guy. And one thing I'll say is that the quality of image that you get out of this lens is breathtaking. It is amazing. If you're getting critical focus while you're zone focusing, it is uncanny, the clarity and the razor sharpness that you get out of this. Now, when I compare this to the 35 f2 version 3, that vintage lens, that is a lens that I consider more a character lens. This is not so much a character lens. I think the only character you get out of this lens is the vignetting that you get at f5.6, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's a character lens. This is a clinically sharp lens, a beautiful lens. 99% of the images in this photo book, when you pick it up, you'll see 99% of the images in this photo book are zone focused and shot at about this level, just below the chest. So essentially during the trip, I was at f8, zone focused at about 3 meters was my critical focus. And I was hitting focus quite nicely and it was really easy. This is like, in my mind, the street photographer lens. A quick overview of my settings while walking around during the day shooting zone focusing street photography with this guy. F8 is where I kept my aperture for 99% of my shots. The ISO was set to auto ISO because these modern cameras, I'm telling you, they can handle grain quite well. And if you really don't like grain, you can always look at a denoising application or the settings in Lightroom that allow you to denoise your photo. My shutter speed I kept to about 1/500th of a second minimum. These were the settings that I used, and I didn't have to worry about changing my settings at any time. All I really worried about was being within a certain range to my subject to make sure that I got critical focus. Now, if something was happening off in the distance, I would just quickly use my tab to go to infinity focus, and it's pretty much a point and shoot at that point. Look how much fun this kid is having. So I just want to quickly share a story with you while I was out and about shooting some street photography, exploring the city of Seattle. So you may not know this, but in Seattle, it's a beautiful place. It's a gorgeous place. The architecture, the greenery, the forestry, the natural green space is really, really nice. And just the layout of the city, you have a body of water, you have the concrete jungle, and then you have like the green forestry. It's really nice. And the mountains off in the distance. But on the flip side of that, you also have heavy homelessness, heavy drug use. So a group of us, including myself, Emily, and Gio, were walking on 3rd Avenue. Now that's an infamous avenue in Seattle where you don't go there at nighttime. We were walking, and as we turned the corner onto 3rd Avenue, you see this guy just standing over another guy, and he is kicking his butt, like kneeing him in the head, just really taking it to him, beating the brakes off him, if I could say that. So as you're approaching these two, you know, it doesn't stop. And in my head, it's kind of like you have a decision to make. What are you going to do? Like, this guy's kneeing him in the head. Is it responsible to watch this and to let this go on? Like, he could be in serious trouble. But at the same time, I'm holding my daughter. I'm holding a very expensive piece of kit as well. And I'm with my family. So as we walk, we're getting closer, and this guy is still going to town, just beating and kicking and punching this poor guy that's on the ground. I decide that I'm gonna give Gia to Emily, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna break this up. As I decide to do that, I'm about to give Gia to Emily or my little sister. The guy stops. And he's starting to walk away now. But this time he has a syringe in his hand, like a needle in his hand, and he's kind of walking towards us, not looking at us, not paying us any mind. And at this time, I didn't really have any fear for our safety, but there was an obvious concern. We checked up on the guy. He said he was going to be okay, asked if he needed an ambulance. He said no, and that was that. So we got home that evening. I got my Leica M11P, got the memory card out, stuck it in my computer. And as I was going through the photos, I was shocked because I saw an image from the assault that I didn't even remember taking. It was like second nature. And in this image, you see obviously what looks like an assault taking place, and then you see another shadow off to the left, which is me taking the photo. And it kind of made me think of the photographer, the street photographer, the photojournalist, just being able to capture something like that to tell a story about the state of affairs in a certain place at a certain time. And that image was symbolic to me because you have the event and then you have the shadow of the photographer. And a lot of the times we are in the shadow as photographers. We're behind the camera, not in front of it. So I thought it was a very interesting photo, and I put it in the photo book Seattle Exposed because it was that impactful to me. I say all that to say this. One of the quotes that I usually end my videos with is, "The best gear is the gear you have, and the best photos are the ones you take." And I truly mean that, and I want you guys to really consider what that means. I consider myself truly fortunate to have this setup. Believe me, I'm not rich, but this was an investment that I wanted to make, and I was very glad to make it because I do love this art of photography, and being able to have the Rolex or the Ferrari of cameras, it's a luxury, and I see it just as that. But on the flip side, I have here a camera and a lens that is no more than maybe $150, $160 all in, a used camera that was able to produce images that are timeless and give me the same joy that a camera and lens like this can give me. Now that says something. What it says is that no matter what camera you have, make images because they're special. It's the moment. It's not necessarily the camera. Yes, I'm not going to gaslight and say, oh, you know, it doesn't matter, this, that, and the third. It's nice to have this beautiful camera and to take those photographs, but it isn't necessary. And that's just the message that I want to leave with you guys. Pick up your camera and just make moments. Capture moments that are important to you, that are impactful to you, and they are beautiful. They will be the best photos because those are the ones that you took. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I hope you like the images, hope you like the story, hope you like the video. If you did, be sure to hit that like, comment, and be sure to subscribe for more. I do have some more content in store for you guys. And if you did make it to the end of the video, just email me, the first 5 people to email me at milmidstudios@gmail.com. asking for a copy of Seattle Exposed. I will mail out a copy to you, the first 5 people to do that. So thank you guys so much. Remember, the best gear is the gear you have, and the best photos are the ones you take. Don't forget to keep on shooting.